My friends, what we're headed towards right now, throughout this time of Easter, we started with the resurrection accounts, Jesus making himself known and visible to those that were around him, bringing truth to the end of the story, that it did not end with his death. And as he spends his time being with his disciples, he's preparing them for one last gift. Ultimately, the tremendous outpouring of the Holy Spirit. And so here we find ourselves in these last few weeks of Easter celebration, preparing ourselves for that so tremendous of a gift, the outpouring of the Holy Spirit on Pentecost. My friends, in this gospel today, Jesus is talking about being on the vine, being the one who produces fruit, finding yourself at home with the one who nourishes you. So I want to ask you a question. What fruit are you bearing? What fruit are you bearing? You see, week in and week out, we can come to the church, we can sit and passively receive. We can believe that, Father, I am a Christian from the hours of 10:45 to 11:45, but once I hit the parking lot, it's over. What fruit are you bearing? What is existing in your life that goes beyond these walls? How do those outside of this church know that you are a Christian? Is it simply because of a bumper sticker? Is it because of a viral post on Facebook or Instagram with the nice words of some gospel reading? How do they know that you are a Christian? And I may have said this before, but I want to call mind to it. One of the things that as a priest that I hear from little kids all the time is, Father, what is heaven going to be like? That is really hard to explain to a little kid. It's the best ice cream shop you could ever go to. They're like, Father, that's not good enough. Dang it. It's the most amazing pet store you could ever imagine. Father, that's still not good enough. Dang it. How do I explain what heaven is like? But the most tremendous joy that you will ever experience. To distill that to a little kid. But to you here, I want to offer you this. The joy, one of the joys of heaven, will be seeing how every action you took, everything that you did in this life, every bit of fruit that you bore, played out throughout history. My friends, if I were to ask you, can you recall to me 3 generations removed from your family? Name one person in your family. Some of you could probably do that. What about 4 generations? What about 5 generations? The farther we go back into history in our own families, we find it difficult to name names, let alone to know what they did with their lives. Yet if I were to ask you, who are some of your favorite saints? Or better yet, do you know the story of St. Maximilian Kolbe, St. John Paul II, St. Maria Goretti? I'd be willing to bet that some of you can name some of these most beautiful of stories, because we have in our church the bearing fruit of a spiritual life that lasts. You see, in our modern history books, very few get remembered for good things, but a whole lot get remembered for the worst things that they've done. And God help you if you're remembered with a middle name. Generally, that's a sign of something terrible. What fruit do you bear? When you pass from this life, what will be your legacy? Because I assure you, it will not be your bank account. It will not be the house or the neighborhood you lived in. It will be those that you helped to live well. My friends, we cannot bear spiritual fruit without some of the most difficult processes of pruning. This letting go, this pruning back, this taking away of everything that is not ultimately of God. And so I want to ask you a very difficult question. Beyond that of what fruit are you bearing? What in your life needs pruning? What in your life needs to be taken away? What in your life, as said another way, what in your life is keeping you from being fully alive? What are those things? And I want to give you some permission to name some of these things. Because so often I find that people don't feel like they can name these things specifically, because somehow naming them gives them power, when in fact naming them removes their power. Is there some sort of resentment in your life? Some sort of grudge that needs to be let go of? Some sort of thing that you hold on to that maybe in the midst of your life, in that dark place, you like to nurture. Rather than nurturing fruit, to nurture a grudge, to nurture that resentment. I don't want to let go of this because I don't want to forgive this person. How about lies? Are there lies in our lives? Are there lies in your life that you need to unravel? My friends, one thing that we all share as a common humanity is we all like to live out of our lies rather than the truth. We like to believe that we can create this so amazing of an image that other people will have no choice but to respect us. Because if we let them see our faults, what would they think of us? And yet God only wants the truth. What lies in your life have you made? What lies in your life is the Lord trying to unravel? How about greed? Where greed has taken over. This idea, if I can only get to the next level in my employment, if I can only make that extra $10,000, if I can only hide that last 5% from the IRS, Jesus might forgive that one. But remember, IRS got Al Capone. That's all I'm going to say. Where has greed taken control in your life? That idea that if I could only have what that other person has, envy. Where is greed reigning supreme? And on this last one, with as much reverence in my heart as I can humanly muster, what addictions are in your life that need pruning? Those things that we enjoy, but we know are bad for us. Those places we go on the internet. Those things that we enjoy that are illegal. Those things that I find myself running to is comfort, knowing that they only bring destruction. My friends, I say it with great reverence because if there's another thing that all humanity suffers with, we are addiction prone, every one of us. But it's one of the greatest lies of the enemy to get you to believe that you are alone in your addictions. That you're alone in those places of wanting something you know is harmful. And yet, what does the Lord want for you? He wants freedom from that. He wants freedom from that, but he can only do so if you give him permission. Everything that the Lord does is with your permission, not without it. Everything in the spiritual life is not about telling you to do something, but it's an invitation. My friends, what would happen if you gave Jesus permission to root those things from your life? Knowing full well that maybe I'm not ready to let go of them. Jesus, I know that this thing is bad, but I love this resentment. I love this feeling of retribution. I love this feeling of being sufficient, of my own greed. Jesus, I even love my addictions. But I give you permission. I give you permission to do the hard work. I give you permission to take it from me. I don't know what that's going to be like, and I know it's not going to feel good. but take it from me so that my life might bear fruit like the saints, that I might not be known for what I've done, for what I have, but for what I've brought into this world, which is you. Jesus wants us to remain in him as he remains in us. The thing that we receive each and every week from this altar, that without him we can do nothing. Yeah, you might be successful in the world, but what will you be remembered for? My friends, the fruit that you bear and the pruning that takes place in your life begins right here. Begins at this altar. But woe to you and woe to me if that fruit and that pruning only takes place here. Because outside of those doors is a world that needs the fruit that only you can bear. The reality that only you can show. The truth that only you can tell. So my friends, as we move into this Mass, as this altar is being prepared, I offer you two questions to the Lord this morning to give him permission. Lord, reveal in my life the fruit that I am bearing. And with great reverence, if you're able, to call to mind that thing you know needs to leave your life and to ask the Lord to take it so that you may receive only him.